The first radio to be offered in the car was way back in the 1920s. They were bulky and took up space. Slowly, radios began to streamline into interior design in the 60s and 70s and offered more functionality. Later on in the late 1970s and 80s, tape decks, equalizers and CD changers were available to buyers. Then finally came the infotainment system, a screen where drivers can control their car settings. From there on, radios became a part of the car and the driver experience. So now we're in the W204 Mercedes C-Class. As you can see right here, it's the original system has been replaced entirely. So basically, this system is made specifically for this car. So there are some brands where it's made specifically for a specific car, because some cars have older infotainment systems that are already built into the car itself. So this one slots directly in the old system, so it's a lot easier and it doesn't make it look messy or not clean. So this is perfectly clean right here. But what it does is it kind of, in some ways, omits or removes the original system, which is called Mercedes Command, which you can see right here. This is the original wheel of the command system. Now it replaces that and it adds its own wheel right here, and it works simultaneously. So some command functions are not available anymore and some are still available. It's linked to the car depending on how good you get the system, basically how much you pay, because in terms of quality there's not much to talk about, because there are brands everywhere, and 90% of these brands are Chinese brands. So brands are not something that you might want to look into because it's just so many of them. So what I would say is the easiest way is, the more expensive the system, the more efficient it is. Speaking of expensive, on top of this Android system, this Mercedes is also fitted with 360 degree parking, which is an addition to the Android system, so that costs a bit more. In all total, the system costed about around 3,000 ringgit, so quite pricey, but you get 360 parking, which this car did not have when it came out. Actually, this car didn't even have a reverse camera, so depends on which type of car you get. If you had a reverse camera and you want a better one, you can install a better one, or it depends on what you want for your old car. Let me go through you what's in the system. So like I said, 360 parking. So how it works is basically, if you put the car in gear, if you put it in reverse, it will turn on the various cameras around the car, which you can see right now. So if you click this button that's been installed with the system, it goes to the 360 camera settings basically, or what you can do or what you can see with the 360 camera. So it has the typical stuff that you can find on a fully production inbuilt system of any new car. So it has your front camera, and if you turn here, it has a wider front camera. If you go turn here, there's a back camera. So you can turn and choose which one you want. This is for mainly if you're stationary or if you're parking in a very tight spot. So I'll show that later of how it really works. There's even this very 3D kind of thing. It's actually displaying the wrong car. This is a much newer Mercedes, but yeah, you get the idea of what it's trying to show, and it works like a normal camera as well on a newer car. So if you put it in gear, if you put it in reverse, it will the cameras will show corresponding to where the car is pointing at. Even if you put your turn signal on, it will actually turn its signal on right now. So I'm going to close this thing right now and reset it again. So if you put your turn signal on, left or right, the camera will pan left or right. So it will use the 360 cameras on the mirror to mirror that effect basically. So it works the same way. If you turn right, it will turn right, and then if you recenter your turn signal, it will point straight for a while before disappearing and going back to the main menu. So it's a camera system. It's simple and it makes driving this a lot easier, because this car is a bit, if you're not used to driving a car with a long front, what do I call it? Long bonnet. It's a bit hard to drive it. So with this 360 camera, is a lot easier to park it and generally driving around. And with the addition of sensors, which you can add front and back, or front only, depending on what kind of sensors you have already pre-installed in the production car, it makes driving this so much easier. Now we're away from our secret testing area and to an underground parking lot, so you can see the screen a bit better. And this also being a Mercedes, it's already popping up its front airbag malfunction. So typical old Mercedes, I guess. Right, so yeah, let's go through the details of the Android system itself. So like I said, it's sort of running simultaneously with the original system command. So it kind of knows if you're controlling something from the original buttons right here on the steering to the Android system. So let's say if I turn on the fan, it responds. So it knows that I'm turning on the fan, I'm making the fan faster, so it knows that kind of stuff. But basically, in essence, it's just how all infotainment system works now. There's telephone, there's your GPS, there's your radio, there's your media player and stuff like that. So let's just go through one by one and how it looks like. So let's start off with the phone. So it's your typical phone. You have your keypad, your contacts, and your last known calls and so on. And this is where you pair your stuff. You can also play music from here. Which is the same as the other music player. So basic stuff, and you can call people just as easy as just putting your numbers like this. So yeah, easy, and then you can just call and it will run through the vehicle's speakers. Right, next, so that's phone. Phone is phone, that's basic. Next is navigation. It has Google Maps installed in the car. So like your phone's Google Map, it's exactly the same. You input your destination, you choose where you want to go, and it will tell you. So let's say I want to choose somewhere, IOI City Mall. Okay, that's somewhere near here. It will show the destination. Oh, by the way, you do need Wi-Fi, of course, because all of this thing needs Wi-Fi to work. So right now it's connected to the nearest Wi-Fi connector. So it shows where it is and everything and stuff like that. And you just press directions and it will go there, finding the best route and how a normal Google Maps would work if you put your phone on a stand. It's just that it's here, so it's a lot easier. You can see it right here. And yes, also it will also play the voice and lead you to where you need to go. Okay, now moving on to the radio, which is actually the original UI for the car, the original command UI. Now this gets a bit cool because this system in particular can still run and merge with the original original Mercedes UI system. So if you click car info, I don't know why it's called car info, but this is the original Mercedes-Benz this era of radio. So it looks like this, and all the settings for the radio work. I've turned down the music for copyright reasons, but everything works. All the settings for the radio work as it should. So all the music leveling stuff. What else works? Well, not much really, but most of it does work. Telephone obviously doesn't work because the new telephone is in the new Android system. The CD player works. If you put in a CD, it will play a CD as normal. Volume works, and AM, FM radio all works the same. So yeah, so if you do want your car to still have the original radio, you might need to look into which Android systems can still provide that. This one in particular, because it was made for this car, of course, all across the W204 generation, it's going to look like this basically. So that's the radio covered. So it's a radio, you can listen to music and stuff like that. Let's say if you don't want to listen to the radio's music for whatever reason, you can swipe more. There's more settings you can swipe. You can play videos in this Android system. It's not I would say you shouldn't do this on the road, but you can upload whatever videos you have and play it. If you're that kind of person, you can also put music into your car, either through Bluetooth or if you look here, there's a wire that runs across that's drilled inside the glove box, so you can put your phone in there and you can play music from your phone as well. So but essentially it's from your phone. And then over here is your normal settings, volume, navigation, your general settings of what you can do with this. Other than that, it's basically the other stuff. You can have this kind of a gimmicky dashboard thing where if you press the accelerator, it will correspond and you can see the parking brake and stuff like that. In terms of design and the look of it, you do have some choices on what you want to make it look like. You can change this to orange. If you go back right here, you have some basic theme settings. You can change it to black if you so desire, so it looks it matches the car, or it matches your style. yeah, that's, you know, in terms of design and everything. Now, this being an Android system and it has internet, it has Google Maps, of course it's going to have the other apps and stuff. So if you go to the app section right here, there's Play Store, there's your Maps, and there's your Google Chrome and stuff like that, and this voice search. You can do voice search. It's not that super reliable because of how it's wired in with the car speaker. It's a bit finicky. That's one thing that's just what you'll get if you have an aftermarket system. But yeah, you can go on the internet, you can, you know, go to driverseat.com, you know, our YouTube channel, and subscribe. You know, that's something that you should do, and you can just browse the internet like a normal person. So yeah, I mean, it's all in one go. But let's say if you don't want to use the car system, of course these kinds of systems are equipped with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Almost all infotainment system on cars that offer, you know, these kind of screen, almost all of them at around 90,000 ringgit have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, either the wireless version or the wired version where you have to, you know, wire your phone through it. But these systems also have it. So this is what Android Auto looks like basically. So it's basically Android displayed on your screen, so you're much more familiar with it. And this is because, well, in production cars and like newer cars, some cars have their own built-in manufacturer system, which a lot of people don't really like. So what they do is that they just project their phones onto the system, so it's a lot easier. So this one has it. So it has basically, Android Auto will mirror all of your apps that you have on the screen. So like for me in particular, I have Discord, I have YT Music, I have Spotify and stuff like that, I have Telegram, I have WhatsApp, and basically you can do whatever you could do on your phone just on the car. So you can ask, you know, you can voice a message to a person, you can do your Google Maps, that's normal, you can listen to music directly from your phone, and it works. This one will work a lot better. But in this case, because this is not a factory system, this is aftermarket, it is a bit finicky to, you know, to get it to connect, and some of the functions don't exactly work the way you want it to be. But in essence, if you could get it to work, you do have to play around with the settings. If it's an aftermarket system, it can work, and this will basically make it even easier for you to navigate through an Android system. A lot easier.
Now, as we are in our 2020s, radios are essentially just big screens on the dashboard. This is what we call infotainment system, which is basically your radio, your navigation, any vehicle settings that you can access into one system. And you can also access media and other playable things in this infotainment system. It's been used for quite some time, mainly cars in the early 2000s, more premium cars. But if you have a car with an older infotainment system, or a car that doesn't have one at all, basically a normal radio like this one, or, you know, something like that, like in my car, it's a bit hard to catch up with the modern automotive infotainment landscape. Basically, you know, you can't really have access to more modern amenities like, you know, Android Auto and stuff like that, you know, accessing navigation properly, built-in navigation and stuff like that. And it's not like you don't have those features in older systems, it's just that it may be limited or it may not have it at all. Like my car in particular only has a Bluetooth telephone, which is good, but you know, that's all it can do. It can't even dial people, which is a big problem really. So what you can do is, you know, nowadays everything is available anywhere. You know, aftermarket shops, what they can do is, what they can offer is aftermarket Android systems. Basically a screen that you can put in your old car, essentially teaching it new tricks. So we have a review car, an old Mercedes C180 from 2008, which had this system actually, this old command system, and the owner of that car replaced it with a more modern Android system. So we're gonna see what it looks like and how this aftermarket system works. So basically, an aftermarket system has its benefits, has its you know, ups and downs, which mainly regarding on, you know, how it works, how it connects properly, and of course warranty is also a big issue. You know, once you put these systems, once it breaks, and you know, they're not as reliable, and you know, they might lag and stuff like that basically. But you know, you can install them, and also, you know, all the other gadgets like 360 camera, you can install them, but at the risk of, you know, voiding any kind of warranty that you may still have, or some safety issues, because not all aftermarket shops can install these systems safely. I mean, there are some very, very sketchy shops that you should avoid. So yeah, you can install an aftermarket Android system, any new tech that you might find in newer cars in your older car, but you may need to weigh down on the risk, cost, and other things that you might need to factor in, such as, actually changing the physical dashboard of your car, because some cars may not have a template, so to say, so that you can swap in and out. Or if you wanna, do it the more simpler way, just get a new car and enjoy your warranty factory fitted infotainment system. If you like the video, give it a like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'll have more videos up soon with more information and insights on new transport technology. Also, stay tuned for our new website content where you can watch our interactive showcases and play games. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.